Fam, what's up? What's up? How's it going? It's Kyle Henderson along with Sean from Huntsville. We're talking Alabama versus Texas. We're going to move right into it. No time for introductions. I know you guys just want to get to the meat of the subject today. Texas is favored to win the Big 12. Next year, they'll be in the SEC. This coming season, Alabama placed host to Texas last year. As you know, it was a 1-point thriller with Alabama coming away with a 20-19 victory over the Longhorns. A lot at stake, clearly, as it's already the college football game of the week. Sean, how big of a threat is Texas coming to Tuscaloosa? Let's talk about the Longhorns entering the 2023 season.
Listen, these guys are a threat. Do not think not. This is an offense. Listen to this. This is an offense that with the return offensive Christian gentleman who forego NFL with the return of wide receiver. All five offensive linemen. These guys return 10 starters from that offense that gave us the first half this year. Think about that, guys. 10 starters back this offense. I would go to him right now and tell you.
Hey, Sean, hold on. They're saying there's an echo. Is that an echo on Sean's side? Can you give me some feedback inside the comment box? Maybe click that button to the reverse, Sean. And if not, we'll just restart.
Which one?
They're saying a bad echo. So, Sean, let's revert to why don't you just call in and then I'll patch you through. Cool? All right.
880?
No, the 205-850. Yeah, I'll patch you right in. Yep. I got. All right, talk to you soon. All right, fam, hang on 1 second. Kyle Henderson coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. It was just on Sean's side, so he's just going to call in. We're just going to patch him through. We're talking Alabama versus Texas. Then we'll recut this video and we'll upload it so you guys can watch it in its entirety. How you guys doing tonight? You guys feeling it? I'm feeling it, man. Next week, I'll be up in Nashville. It's going to be great. We're talking Alabama football on Wednesday, and we'll pipe Sean in right now. Hey, Sean, you there?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
How's that, everyone? Can you guys hear Sean on that side? All right, Sean.
What about how's that?
Yeah, that sounds good to me. Okay, so as we were talking about, when Alabama plays host to Texas, now the favorite to win the Big 12 title under Steve Sarkisian,
right.
Everybody's giving us a thumbs up on the sound, so we're good on that front. Sean, how big of a threat is Texas? We'll just start all over, and you give us a spill on Texas. How big of a threat is Texas coming to Tuscaloosa?
Listen, as I was saying, guys, this team is a threat. This team is a threat. They have 10 starters back, man. Anytime you have a team with 10 starters back and a returning quarterback who's pretty good, very good to be honest, you are a threat. This is a team that scored more points on the road last year than they did at home. They scored 31 at home. They averaged about 37 on the road. This team is a threat, man. I'll go out on the limb right now and tell you guys, man for man, this may be the most talented roster that we face all season, even more than LSU, even more than Tennessee. Maybe not scheme-wise on defense, but I promise you, man for man, this team is a threat. Sure, they lost Bijan Robinson, but these guys returned Jonathan Brooks, Jadon Blue, freshman Cedric Baxter, and we all know Keelan Robinson, straight from Bama. This team returns every receiver, and they're three deep as far as the starting guys. Jatavian Sanders, Jordan Whittingham, Casey Kane, and that man, it's Xavier Worthy. He gave us the business last year, guys, with the starting quarterback and with Hudson Carr. These guys received 41 votes out of 67 first-place votes to win the Big 12. Texas will be a problem. They will be a problem. Steve Sarkisian knows our defense. He understands how to attack us. He understands how to get us out of pattern matching. He understands we play a lot of man coverage, man. He understands with a lot of motions to the boundary, a lot of motions to the field side, a lot of things to confuse the corners and confuse the linebackers. So this is a team that is a threat. And here's something else that people won't say. Texas, you know how we do other teams? We'll go gobble up all the tickets. We'll have a gang of fans there. That those home teams don't sell all their home tickets. Next thing you know, Bama's in there deep. Texas will try to do that to Bama. These people, they have the resources to come here deep. They've never been to Bama, and God knows when, if ever. Texas will be here early, deep, and their team will be ready. Trust me.
On the line with Sean from Huntsville. My name is Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. Hit the thumbs up, like, and subscribe. We appreciate you guys more than you know. Just a week away from SEC Media Days. Actually, just a couple days. I'll be in Nashville starting on Sunday because, what's up, Jarvis? I see you inside the comment box. Sean, I just sent you a text message, man. Shoot me a text message right back. Jarvis, I see you inside the comment box. Nate H., what's going on? Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of storylines to cover. Remember, there was kind of that wave of Alabama players that went over to Texas, and it all started with Steve Sarkisian, who I felt was one of the best offensive coordinators in recent times here at Alabama, right? Everybody's super excited about Lane Kiffin and what he did in the past. But then when you had Steve Sarkisian come in, we totally started to see Alabama's offense really evolve into what the offense is now. I know it's the Alabama offense, in considering that Sarkisian did have a lot of talent to work with, but I thought he was probably the best play caller that Alabama's had after Lane Kiffin. On the line with Sean from Huntsville. We'll have Jarek from Buffalo coming in just a minute. And then at the bottom of the screen, you can call into the show, 205-850-1994. My name is Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. Hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. Super chats definitely appreciated. And we'll continue with Sean from Huntsville. Sean, when I look at this particular matchup, I think that one of the areas that I'm concerned about is on the outside, because you have Kool-Aid, you have Taron, or you have Trey Amos going up against some of the most electrifying wide receivers in all of college football. As you mentioned, Xavier Worthy and, A.D. Mitchell and some of the other guys that they have, even the big tight end who presents a lot of problems, and especially if Q Ewers is healthy, and I'm sure he will be. It's week 2 going into this game. Are you concerned a little bit about that secondary? I know I'm excited about Kool-Aid, but is that going to be one of the potential problems for Alabama going into this week 2 contest?
I don't think that the secondary will be in a lot of trouble. It's just the scheme to me. The scheme is what presents a lot of problems for us. Steve Sarkisian is very aware that we like to pattern match. He's very aware that we like to play man, bring pressure, especially on third down. He is exceptionally aware of that, even more than just watching film on an opponent. This guy used to go against our defense. He is extremely aware of what we like to do on third and long. He's very aware of how we like to do what we like to do on first downs, on run downs, gap schemes, all of those things that guy is exceptionally aware of. What I'm concerned about is putting pressure on the quarterback. That's what I'm concerned with, because this guy, Quinn Ewers, will cut us up, man. Doesn't matter that we play great coverage. This guy's a great quarterback. He's a great quarterback, man. The guy only played like 10 games and still threw for over 2,000 yards. Like he had 16, 17 touchdowns. The guy's a great quarterback, and they love to throw the deep ball. They love it. We have to play sound defense. We have to score. We have to put points on the board to put pressure on those guys to score as well. We have to put pressure on Quinn Ewers and make him uncomfortable. And I'm going to tell you the deciding factor that I wish we could get this message out to all Bama fans. We need Bama fans to turn Bryant Denny, BDS, into a hostile environment, man. We need these guys to come in that Texas game and scream and turn that thing in, because the crowd, we should know from Bama, the crowd can be that 13th player out there on the field, that 12th player out there on the field, those extra players out there on the field. We know that personally. We ran into that at LSU. We ran into that at Tennessee. We need our crowd to come in and make Bryant Denny an absolute madhouse, man. That helps the defense. That energizes the offense. I'm not really worried about the secondary as far as the talent-wise. I am worried about Xavier Worthy getting loose on us. The scheme that Steve Sarkisian runs is what really I have a concern about.
On the line with Sean from Huntsville. My name is Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. Hit the thumbs up, like, and subscribe. We're coming to you July 13th, Thursday night on YouTube. I appreciate you guys joining us. Hit the thumbs up, like, and subscribe. Sean, when we look at Alabama from an offensive standpoint, we're going to talk with Jarek at 7:15 p.m., so stick around for that. And then you guys can call into the show, 205-850-1994. When we look to Alabama's offense, clearly everyone wants to talk about the quarterbacks, and we're not going to talk about the quarterbacks just yet. But I do want to ask you about some of the mismatches that potentially Alabama could have when we look to this game. Do you think that, it's hypothetical because we don't know what Tommy Rees is going to do in terms of using the running backs. Could you see, when you look to that running back room, do you think that Alabama is going to have somewhat of a running back by committee, or do you think that they're going to give Jace kind of that featured back role? It's early, that's hypothetical, but what's your kind of like assessment as we're in summertime? That's kind of a tough question, I would assume.
I honestly think that they're going to let Jace go a little while, and if Jace is not successful and we stay behind the chains, I think you'll see other guys. I think Roydell's going to get his carries as well, especially on third and short. I think that the down and distance is going to determine it. If we keep getting in third and long and we're not moving the ball, I think you will see some exchanging in the running back in the backfield. Texas is a blitzing team. They blitz a lot, so we have to have Jalen or Ty or whatever or the young man who transferred in from Notre Dame, whatever quarterback we have, they have to be sound. Steve knows this. He's very aware. If I know it, you can best believe he knows it. Whatever quarterback we're going to have, they're going to blitz him. They're going to blitz him. They're going to test his fortitude. So I really do think we're going to lean heavily on the running game. I think Jace will get the bulk of that. If he's successful, if he has a hot hand, I think they'll go with Jace most of the game. I think Roydell, like I said, will come in on short down and distances. But I think you'll get the freshman maybe sprinkling in there if the running game stalls. I do think you'll see the freshman. Remember, guys, one last thing. This team is a team that has not won a conference title since the Colt McCoy days. It's been 5 other Big 12 teams that have won Big 12 titles since Texas has won. So they're going to be hungry. They're looking at Bama as a measuring stick. They want to measure themselves. Yeah. They're coming into this conference. We have to close the door on those guys. I mean, close it from jump.
It seems to me that, for every single team that comes into Bryant-Denny, or every time you get an opportunity to play Alabama, it's almost like their Super Bowl, right? It's the biggest game because Alabama's still, the most iconic college football program out there. I know Georgia kind of making their ways as well, with the last 2 national titles. But still, when you play Alabama, Alabama's going to get the best from everybody. And I think Texas, they're going to live and die off this game, off the results of this game, right? Just like last year, if they would have beat Alabama in Austin, they would have carried that over to this coming season. And in some ways they have, and I think they feel that they are confident and they have enough arsenal to come into Bryant-Denny and probably beat Alabama this season. Texas wants this game more than probably any other game on their schedule. And I was looking at Texas's schedule earlier today. If some way they beat Alabama, this team certainly could go undefeated through the regular season. I think that's a lot of the ways that a lot of the Big 12 coaches are looking at Texas. And why shouldn't they? Texas has every single resource. They have the deepest pockets in college football. They can do whatever they want. So there's really no excuse for Texas to be continuing to not be in the playoffs, to not be bringing in championship. This is the time to shine for Texas. If it's not going to happen this year for Texas, it's never going to happen for the Texas Longhorns.
Man, I tell you what, Steve Sarkisian is doing a great job playing the politics. If you ask him, oh no, we're not worried about the SEC right now. No, he's not. Those guys they know this is their last hurrah in that conference. He wants to send a message to the rest of the SEC with this Alabama game. That's why I'm so glad they made it at night. We need our fans to turn it up, man. We need our fans to turn it up like never before. Texas is a very talented team. They have an extremely talented head coach who knows us like the back of his hand. These guys are going to be hungry. He's playing the politics with the Big 12. We're worried about the Big 12. These guys are absolutely SEC bound and absolutely worried about the SEC. We need to turn it up in all facets for this game. So absolutely, he's playing the politics right now, but you better believe this game means as much to Texas as it does to us. That's a fact.
I'm looking at Texas' schedule, and I'll ask Jarek as well when he calls in here in just a minute. What's going on, everyone? Kyle Henderson, along with Sean from Huntsville, coming in from Tuscaloosa, Alabama, all the way to Huntsville. Like and subscribe. We appreciate you guys being with us in the summer season. July 13th, we're talking about Texas and Alabama and the challenges that Texas is going to bring to Tuscaloosa when the two teams do play on September 9th. You can see it right on the top of your screen. Before that, Texas is playing Rice, and then they'll play Alabama. Then they got Wyoming. Then they have Baylor. They got Kansas, Oklahoma, the big one that is played at the Cotton Bowl. And then you will continue to scroll down. You got Houston on the road. You got BYU. You got Kansas State. We've seen the emergence that Kansas State has done. You got TCU. They're always the trap game against Iowa State. Iowa State always gets somebody late in the season. Always, 100%. If somehow Texas is undefeated by November 18th, Iowa State is. I'm laying it down on Iowa State. And then they got Texas Tech, which is also another trap game, right? Considering Texas Tech, what they can do. So there's kind of a look at Texas' schedule. And as you know, Texas is recently favored to win the Big 12. Sean, final thought on Texas football overall and kind of the momentum that they have in terms of recruiting, the coach. I mean, this everything on paper points to this is finally the year of the Texas Longhorns.
Tell you what, man, they're recruiting well. My final thought on these guys is they're doing well in NIL as I expected them to do. It's Texas. You know, we all know how their pockets is out there. We understand. This team went 8-4 last year, 8-5 total. They got 2 freshmen on the offensive line that we couldn't exploit last year. We couldn't exploit Hunter, the Connor kid or the Banks kid. We couldn't exploit either one of them. So my final thought is we need to rethink our game plan. I pray we don't go out there doing the same thing we did last year, dropping 8, rushing 3. You know, that just does not work. I understand. We're afraid. We give up the deep pass. We need to attack these guys. My final thought is we can't sit back and allow Quinn to get comfortable. We got to attack this guy. Put him on his butt. Attack him. We have to attack him. Live and die with it. You know what I mean? Live and die with it, baby. My final thought, like I said, just play Bama ball. Not scared ball, not the ball we played last year, playing and to not get beat. We have to play Alabama sound football. The penalties, that's got to stop. The special teams errors, that's got to stop. We have to be sound in all phases of the game. And if we do that, and the fans come out and be Bama fans from like 2016, those Bama fans, man, there's no doubt in my mind we'll leave with a W, a big W.
I appreciate it, Sean. Thank you so much for leading off the show. We're going to get with Jarek in just a minute. Sean, I'll catch up with you, man. Thank you so much for joining in and batting lead off for us.
No problem at all, man. Roll Tide. Everybody like, subscribe. Best Bama content is out there. One love to Kyle, Jarek, and all the Bama fans in the chat, man. Thank you for having me.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you. That is Sean from Huntsville batting clean up right here on Bama Football on YouTube. What's going on? Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. I got Jarek in the queue. Jarek, listen up, man. When we bring you in, if there's an echo, I'm going to try to work on it. And if you can't get through, then just call in the regular number and I'll patch you on through. We also have another caller. It's a 205. Just hang tight. We'll get to you in just a minute. My name is Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube, coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Next week, I will be in Nashville up at SEC Media Days. I'm actually playing in a golf tournament on Sunday, which I'm really elated about. And then on Monday, things will kick off. And then Alabama will hit the podium on Wednesday, so you can hit the notifications to get all the videos that we're going to be uploading from Nashville right here to Bama Football on YouTube. If you guys didn't know, I own the channel independently. I don't work for On3. I don't work for Rivals. I have respect for all those guys out there in the trenches. I've talked a lot about, you know, the guys that are operating the YouTube channels and how much respect that I have for those guys, because it is a lot of work and those guys are certainly putting on the grind. So On3, those are good people. Same with Rivals, Touchdown Alabama, AL.com. There's plenty of people to get your news from, so we appreciate you guys spending Thursday night tonight with us right here on Bama Football on YouTube. And that's right, Jarvis, Kyle is self-made. That is 100% true. All right, we're going to bring in Jarek to the show. Hey, let me know inside the comment box if there is an echo, and if there's an echo, Jarek, then we revert to our calls. So let's get it started. Jarek from Buffalo. Jarek, what's up, man?
What's going on?
How's the audio, everybody? Can Jarek give us a little test 1 2?
All right, 1 2.
All right, let's see how we let's get it going, man. We've been talking about Texas. I was thinking about I want to do something like Texas centric, because when it came out that they were going to win the Big 12, it's a lot of, you know, excitement about Texas, because every single thing like Texas, like they should be in the college football playoffs. Oh, there's an echo. So Jarek, call me in. All right, we're gonna fix that. So Jarek is gonna call in now, and we'll take his call. But what I wanted to do, thank you, Nate. I appreciate you guys looking out for us. I wanted to do something Texas centric, just because, like, when we look to the season, like that's the early season game that we're all talking about, right? Is the Texas versus Alabama matchup, and rightfully so. I mean, considering enough echo, you dorks. Thank you, Jay Green. If you want to be our sound engineer, come on board. I pay you a big fat fee of absolutely zero. So if you don't have anything nice to say, keep your mouth shut. So we will get to Jarek in just a second. But as we were talking, I wanted to do something, you know, kind of Texas centric because, Steve Sarkisian and what he brings and the way that the game ended last year, I mean, was, quite epic. And then the way that, but I think people are forgetting about this. Alabama walking off the field, right? Like that was something that I'm going to remember because people were, talking about, even Coach Saban was like, get your ass off the field. And he was like, kind of like, trying to corral them off the field or whatever. I think like these two teams can't wait to play each other. There's a lot of people that went from Alabama to Texas, and Steve Sarkisian kind of led that corral. And Jarek, we are waiting for you to call in. And I can't wait to see what Alabama's defense does against this Texas offense because there's a lot of firepower on the Texas offensive side. And I appreciate you, Nate. Thanks for joining us inside the comment box. And same with you, Sean. We appreciate you batting leadoff for us. What do I think about the game? I think like when I look at a game like this, in an early season matchup that everybody is going to be watching, there's so much on the line because I think, looking at Texas' schedule, which I just showed earlier, I think, and I can bring that up one more time. If you look at their schedule, I think that Texas has a really good shot to run the table, right? I mean, if they stay on and they stay healthy, that game against Rice, that's a W. Alabama, I think Alabama's a 7-point favorite in that game. Wyoming, they're going to win that game. Baylor, that's going to be probably a tough early season game, but I think Texas escapes that one as well. Then they beat Kansas, Oklahoma, Brett Venables and what he's been doing. I think they get past that. Then they're open. So, it's a favorable schedule. I think that Iowa State game is a trap game. So point being is like, if Texas is able to, do some damage earlier in the season, then I think that they could potentially make a bid at the playoffs towards the back end of the year. While we wait for Jarek, we're going to take another call. It's from a 205. We'll take it right now. Hey, good evening. We're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who I'm on the line with and where are you calling in from?
Hey, man, Uncle Charles from Birmingham, man. How you doing?
What's up, Uncle Charles? I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for calling in. What's your take on this Alabama versus Texas early season showdown?
Let me just be honest with you, and let me just tell the listening public. The only thing I'm worried about Texas is how hot it is. Even it's so hot in Texas, the heat don't know it's hot. That's the only thing I'm worried about. They're gonna come down here, and we're gonna get them a whooping. You know that whooping you got back in the day from your mom and daddy. We're gonna give them that whooping. And see, I'm 54. I got a whooping when I was 9 years old. I still ain't forgot that yet. Let me tell you something. I'm not worried about Texas. I'm worried about everybody else. Don't think Alabama don't fell off. You must be Roy Jones. You must have forgot. You must have forgot who's at the top of the food chain. And Georgia running around here, won 2 national championships. And they already flying in our face. And then, I don't want to talk about Tennessee. How in the world? No way we lost to Tennessee. We played against the football team, the fans, the police, the robbers, the thieves, all of them. How you going to win against all of them folks? You can't beat them. So I'm not worried about that because for one thing, and I know for sure, that Nick Saban is a perfectionist. He don't take it lying down easy. You're right. He told me to get off that field. You with your head down, you move it slow. Let's go. Let me tell you something. Val Brown wouldn't even put up with this. Val Brown was up in that thing, drinking that cold lemonade, that ice country cold lemonade, and you be down there on the practice field about to die. And then you by the time game time comes, you're out there ready to kill somebody. So I'm not worried about Texas. Come on down. We're going to show you good Alabama hospitality, and we're going to shut the door in your face. No, I'm not worried about Texas. Is they going to have a good team? Well, of course they're going to have a good team. But when they come to Tuscaloosa, they're going to find out something different. And that's all I got to say.
Uncle Charles, I appreciate you calling in, man, with the straight facts, right? Because I think when you look to this game, so many people are putting emphasis on it. And Coach Saban, could you imagine how pissed off he would be if he's cruising around and he sees Kyle Henderson talking about Alabama versus Texas when we surpassed this Middle Tennessee game? But I have to say, hey, JM, no worries, man. I love you, bro. I'm good on the echo. We're going to get that fixed eventually. So all good, man. Dap to you, man. We boys. Uncle Charles, this team, people were saying that Saban's pissed off, that, this and that. Look, Coach Saban has so much fire in his belly. As a longtime fan, what do you continue to see from Coach Saban and just kind of the passion that he brings, the CEO of college football?
Well, let me explain something to you. Alabama went through a terrible time when the tornado come through. And this is when Nick Saban do what he always do. This is why he will go down as a legend. What did he have his football players out there doing? He had them out there helping the community.
Yep.
Helping the community was devastating, bro. It was devastating. And he had them out there giving out water, food, and he was helping people pick up the pieces. And this is when people like Nick Saban shows up, and he's that kind of man that I got the power to change people's lives, and I'm going to do this. This is why God has blessed him so many times in national championships. If you really look at it, when he went in national championship, who first come to get him a hug? His sweet wife. She always gave him a hug. And she know what kind of man she got. Yeah. She got a legend now. She got a man that help people that's less fortunate. Where you going? They don't make that many people no more today, brother. Mm-hmm. They don't make that many people no more. And Nick Saban is the one originally, and there's never been another Nick Saban. When the day he retired is the day Alabama gonna be sick. I'm gonna be sick. I'm gonna go give me some Pepto Bismol. I know I'm gonna be sick, but I know it would be time for him to go. At some point, he gonna want to go and enjoy his grandbabies. Mm-hmm. He gonna want to go enjoy his other businesses, and we gonna have to accept that. And I'm gonna have to accept it. And that's all I gotta say. He's a legend. He will always be a legend, and he's a fair man. He's a fair man. You do something wrong, he's gonna put you off the team, and that's the way it should be. That's the way it should be. Follow the rules, you stay on the team. You don't follow the rules, you go play somewhere else. This is how you go. This is how I go. This is how you do. You got to respect that, brother. And that's all I got to say about Nick Saban.
Last question, Uncle Charles, before we get to Jarek and Buffalo. By the way, Uncle Charles, you definitely got a seat at the table, man. So I'm going to write your number down. You call in any single time. We welcome you to the show, man. So thank you so much for the energy. Who does Alabama want to beat more this coming season, LSU or Tennessee?
Oh God! Now, see, now I got to go into my crystal ball. Man. I don't want to be now one of them, for God's sake. I don't want to be now. I want to be who we are, which is the most winningest team in college football. You got to respect us. You can't just shut the door on us. We still here. Y'all must have forgot, right? What Jones said. You must have forgot. We're still here. We're still at the top of the food chain. Yeah, we got a little few bumps in the road, but that's okay. That's life. But we're going to deal with it. We're going to show you just what life is about in college football this coming year. And I appreciate you, baby.
All right. Thank you, Uncle Charles. We're going to move on, man. Thank you so much, and have a good night, Uncle Charles.
Yes, sir.
Roll Tide to you. Uncle Charles coming in hot. We're going to go right to Jarek in Buffalo. Jarek, this game against Texas, everybody's talking about it, man. Your early assessment on Alabama versus Texas and kind of all the hype that's surrounding Texas. Is it hype? Are we about to see it? What's your take on this early season showdown?
Well, first of all, Kyle, man, listen, man, Uncle Charles, man, that's the truth right there, man. That man right there he's the truth. I'm gonna tell you that right now, man. That dude he's about it. No, I mean, for the most part, the hype is definitely going to be real. This is definitely going to be a top 10 matchup. We could potentially see Texas potentially finish as a top 5 team by the end of this year. Who knows? You know, if we're lucky enough, maybe we'll play against each other a couple times. Texas is going to have one of the best offenses in the country. We all know for the most part their offensive line brings some experience. You potentially bring back the best left tackle in football. You bring in Cole Hudson. We all know, Anai Mitchell, who gave Hooks a bunch of fits, and if he can stay healthy, this is a guy that could be a day one, potentially early day 2 pick. Isaiah Neyer is coming back from injury. That's a guy that can make some a huge impact. Tavion Sanders, Xavier Worthy. I mean, Jordan Winningham. I mean, these guys got a bunch of weapons, and all of a sudden, with Steve Sarkisian, with that pro spread type of scheme that he kind of brings to the table, knowing exactly what we love to bring to the table as far as loving to press, loving to play a lot of man up. It's going to be a tricky game because you're going against somebody that knows our defense. Again, that's been practicing against our defense. I said it last year. Last year when we played Texas, Texas was going to be a tricky game because of what Steve Sarkisian brings to the table. I mean, he's one of the best offensive minds in all of football. And you pair that off with the coaching staff that he's brought to the table. Again, they got around 2 or 3 coordinators that came from Alabama, that came from under Saban's tree. So they have been preparing for this game for a very, very long time. And Obviously, last year, even though they lost that game, I mean, it was like the best loss ever in their history. They couldn't stop talking about that game until eventually they ended up losing to Texas Tech. That's when the hype began to, they came back to reality. But no, Texas is a very improved football team. Their defense has improved. I mean, they went from having one of the worst defenses to having a top 25 scoring defense. So again, they love the blitz. They love to also plan man up as well. And again, they love to bring a lot of pressure. Jalen Ford's going to lead that defense, All-American linebacker. You got Sorrell and Tavondre Sweat, and you have not Colburn, but you have a lot of other guys. From their depth chart, a lot of 4- and 5-star guys that are ready to step up, that are ready to try to be that person. If there's any question marks I do have for Texas, though, again, they're going to have a lot of young guys. Particularly who's going to be their CB2. Safety position, who's going to be playing right alongside Jaron Thompson. Again, their pass rushers kind of been the weakness over the last couple of years. We all know they're one of the best blitzing teams, and we all know that they can definitely bring a lot of pressure from the inside, but what's going to happen to the outside? So Texas definitely has their questions. It's not going to be an invincible matchup, but obviously Texas versus Alabama, it's going to be a phenomenal game. Obviously, we both have a lot of questions. Both teams have a lot of question marks. And I'm all excited for it. But yeah, this game I believe is definitely going to go up to the hype.
When you look to Alabama's offense versus Texas defense, what potential matchups do you see Alabama taking advantage of? I mean, I have Ja'Cory Brooks right here on the screen, but maybe a Malik Benson or one of the running backs. I mean, we don't even know who the quarterback is necessarily going to be. I would assume it's going to be Jalen Milroe at that point. But kind of looking at the Texas defense and kind of what they bring from a personnel standpoint versus Alabama's, what do you think that Alabama goes to, or where could Alabama have just kind of the on paper edge?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Like I said before, it's going to be interesting to see who their CB2 is, who's going to be playing right, because we all know Ryan Watts. Ryan Watts is going to be their CB1, but it's going to be interesting to see that CB2 battle. It could be a possibility that Malik Muhammad, freshman, could potentially take that spot. He's going to be battling. So, their nickelback for the most part, that's another kind of, or their nut position that they kind of call it. That's going to be something that is going to be a very interesting battle that we can try to take advantage of. But no, I think definitely, even for Ryan Watts, even though I really like Ryan Watts, he plays a little too aggressive at times, right? He's a very lengthy type corner. He loves to jam, but he can be a little overly aggressive, and that's where you can take advantage of some of those positions, right? With Ja'Cory Brooks, where he's really, really good at punishing players that loves to really overly commit, especially when it comes to jamming. So, I definitely think that could be an advantage that we can take off. Again, CB2 right off the gate. If they're going to lack some experience at CB2. So who do you put at that receiving position? Because that's our own question, right? Who's going to be our guys? We're expecting Ja'Cory Brooks is going to be that guy, but is it going to be Jermaine Byrne? Is he going to be playing there? Is it going to be Jalen Hale? Is it going to be Malik Benson? We're not really necessarily set. I mean, the only thing that we can rely on right now is our lads. But you know how Nick Saban is. Nick Saban, once he sets that, I mean, even when he sets the official depth chart, that might not even be how the depth chart is when we play against Texas. So, we need to try to figure out, as far as who are going to be our guys. But that's definitely something that we can take advantage of, because if Texas doesn't know who we're going to be playing against, and if our depth chart's not going to be particularly set, then that's going to be less guys that they have tape on, because not a lot of our guys have a lot of experience, and hopefully we can take advantage of some of our guys as far as utilizing their athleticism, utilizing speed, utilizing some strength. Obviously, guys are going to be completely different, but hopefully we can try to find those matchups and exploit. Because Texas secondary, even though that it improved last year, it's not like you're playing prime, LSU back in 2011, or you're playing, let's say, or you're playing Penn State now. Like, Penn State has the best secondary right now in the country, according to a lot of people. It's not like it's going against that. So there's definitely some matchups that we can definitely exploit. But at the end of the day, we got to have the quarterback. Got to have the right quarterback that can try to get our guys to football, and that comes with building chemistry. And so far, at least what we know, Jalen Milroe has worked with these receivers the most out of all the quarterbacks, and he's developed some of that chemistry. So, as soon as we can try to figure out a quarterback situation, and then as soon as we can try to gain some confidence that Milroe can or whoever's going to be our guy can gain some chemistry and gain some sort of repertoire with our guys, hopefully we can try to set up some matchups that's Tommy Rees's job because, again, that's, the lack of creativity is the one thing that a lot of us complained about for Bill O'Brien. Hopefully that is what we can start to see exactly what Reese and what our offense can potentially do against this Texas defense.
Do you feel that Justin Summerlin, I appreciate the comments inside the comment box, he's saying that Alabama's offense is going to be a lot better this coming season. Would you agree with that assessment?
I hope so, Kyle. I really do. If I had to say it right, it's hard. It's a tough question because talent-wise, personnel-wise, you're expecting, yes, right? All the 4- and 5-star guys that we have, the offensive line should be improved. But how many? Again, the last 2 to 3 years, we've talked about, can this offense improve? Even with all the experience that returned back, it was actually kind of a little bit worse. Obviously, from the foundation-wise, we're expecting that we return back to that old foundation as far as bringing a much balanced approach, running the football, establishing that physicality with our offensive line, going back towards that traditional role with our receivers of not really, putting these, huge expectations on these guys like we did with 18 through 21. But it's hard because at the same time, I mean, like I said, how do you go from Bryce Young to this? And we're expecting that we're going to be a lot better than what we were. I mean, it's a fair question to kind of ask, especially because with Bryce Young, we did struggle. Now, I did say a little bit earlier is that Tommy Rees, maybe he can bring some more creativity compared to Bill O'Brien. But, at the same time, all we can go off right now is what he did in Notre Dame. And what he did with Notre Dame is, as far as some of the quarterbacks that he's with, even though, yes, the foundation as far as bringing that physicality, running the football was there, at the same time, I did see some lack of creativity. There were some really, really good passes, some good concepts, especially some passing concepts that I liked, but it was a little too inconsistent. Now, again, I'm not going to put that all on Tommy Rees because at the end of the day, he had to work with the personnel that he had to work with. That's out of his control. But, working with Jalen Murrow, a guy that still is considered raw, Ty Simpson, who's going to be a redshirt freshman, and then obviously, you bring in, the transfer from Notre Dame who he has worked with in the past and obviously did not receive that success over there. So it's honestly hard to say that this offense is going to be a lot better. The one thing that I can say is that, is that I'm a lot hopeful for this offense to get better because there is a lot of inexperience, but it's a lot of youth. I definitely like this personnel a lot better compared to last year's personnel. But at the same time, though, we got to see on the football field if Tommy Rees can really be the OC that I think that we all think he can. But there's just so much inexperience that it's kind of hard to tell if this offense is going to get better compared to last year.
On the line with Jarek from Buffalo. My name is Kyle Henderson, the Bama Football on YouTube. Hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. Coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. As Sean says inside the comment box, hit the thumbs up, like, and subscribe. A thumbs up, super chat, all that stuff goes a long way. So we really appreciate you guys. If you're new to the channel, definitely hit that bell so you're notified every single time we drop that video. There's about to be a ton of Alabama-related content loaded to the channel because you have SEC Media Days. And it's always interesting to hear other coaches and how they talk about Alabama, right? You have Lane Kiffin, you have Kirby Smart, you have Jimbo Fisher, so many, headliners. Hugh Freeze, we'll get to hear him at Media Days and all those and how it relates back to Alabama. So we'll have those press conferences added to our YouTube channel. On the line with Jarek from Buffalo. We go all across the country, all across the world, talking with Alabama football fans. They call into the show. If you want to call into the show to be a part of the show, call online at the bottom of your screen. 205-850-1994 is the call online number. Pause the screen. You can call in, take your call, and we can talk some Alabama football tonight. The subject matter is Alabama versus Texas in that Week 2 showdown, as Texas was recently favored to win the Big 12. So I'm on the line with Jarek from Buffalo, who's a longtime caller. He's been calling in for probably, 4 or 5 years now. And we're talking with him about this upcoming matchup as we pass the summer season. Jarek, I don't think I've asked you this before, and I don't think I've asked my callers this before, but maybe it's a good time to ask. When you look to this defense, and we talked a little bit about the defense last time, a lot of people want to talk about the inside linebacker position. I think I asked Jay from Florence this, actually. Is there a breakout player to watch on the defensive side of the ball for the Alabama Crimson Tide, in your opinion?
That's definitely a good question.
Right.
Do I think that there's going to be a breakout player? I think there can be. I definitely think that if you take a look at our inside linebacking position, boy, man, we talked about this last time. The inside linebacking position for Alabama it's loaded. It's full of phenomenal players, and it's going to be a very interesting battle, especially because there's so many 4- and 5-star guys that you can think of that it's going to be crazy. But if there's one guy that I think could potentially break out, and this is more of a rotational type piece, I'm going to sit up here and I'm going to go on a limb here, very, very limb, and guys, don't kill me for it, but I'm going to say Jeremiah Alexander. I think Jeremiah Alexander, this is a player, ladies and gentlemen, that we have been paying attention for a very, very long time. I've watched this kid since he was at Thompson killing it. We've been trying to look for that rotational piece player. We went back to that philosophy with Chris Braswell, where he was that rotational piece. And again, he lived up to expectations. Again, he was one of the best linebackers, not just in the SEC, but in the country, as far as pass rushing win rate. As far as winning his one-on-one matchups and affecting the quarterback, I think Jeremiah Alexander could be that next guy that's going to be a part of the rotation. And I think that's going to be really, really important, right? Trying to keep that rhythm going, especially going into next season, just in case if Dallas Turner and Chris Braswell does have really good years and they do declare, we can potentially have that next man type guy up. I definitely believe that maybe a guy like Jeremiah Alexander could fight up the depth chart. I love what he did with the limited action that he did in spring. I think that's a guy that could potentially step up, and I think that if he does step up, man, it's going to better up Alabama's defensive front, and we need that. We need that. Again, all the great Alabama teams have always had that rotational piece when it comes to their pass rushing set. I definitely think that Jeremiah Alexander could have that potential. He has all the ability, former 5-star in the world, to do it. We've seen flashes from him here and there. I definitely think he can be that piece. But some other players that I think could potentially step up, a John Marion Latham. Not a lot of people are talking about this guy a lot. I think that this guy, again, we've seen some pieces of him last year. That's a guy that could potentially flash. That we could potentially see as well. I think that's a guy that's going to be looking for an opportunity. Again, we got some guys that into the transfer portal. This is an opportunity for a person like his caliber to step up, and I definitely think that he could be a guy that could be more of a rotational piece at 3. And I think that he can definitely step up there.
We're looking at the depth chart right now, Jarek, on from our lads, and I'm going to go full screen on this and kind of just walk everyone through. So as you can see up at the top of your screen, and this is from our lads, they put this together. You can go check out any depth chart from across college football. They do a pretty good job, in terms of organizing the depth chart. This is one that I like to go to now. Is it for certain? No, but I mean, at least it gives you like a pretty good idea of where they see things. And you have Justin Ebogbe at D end, nose tackle Jaheim Otis, Tim Smith, Chris Braswell, Tresman Marshall, Deontay Lawson, Dallas Turner, Trey Amos actually over Terran Arnold. Maybe it's Jay from Florence who runs this, our lads for Alabama, because he called that on our last show. Caleb Downs in there at strong safety. Free safety is Malachi Moore. Right cornerback is Kool-Aid, and then you have your star as Earl Little. So that's how they have it. And then the 2 deep, as you said, you had Jamarian Latham, actually Jeremiah Alexander on the 3 deep, and then you guys can like kind of get a picture from there. But a lot of people, Jarek, actually in the comment box when I asked about a breakout player on the defensive side, we're talking about Chris Braswell.
I can see Chris Braswell being that guy. I mean, like I said before, he was number 1 in the nation as far as pass rush win rate. I mean, he was an absolute monster. He won against a lot of his one-on-one matchups. I think he has all the makings of being a first-round pick. He's the biggest linebacker. I believe he's the biggest linebacker on the team. He actually added some additional weight. He has the pass rushing skill sets. I think very, very similar. I think, again, it's kind of a little bit of a weird comparison to Tim Williams. How Tim Williams was always that rotational piece. He was always that guy, but he was always criticized of not being the complete player. Hence why he came back during the senior and he had a heck of a senior season. I think Chris Braswell is kind of in that same caliber as far as being a really, really good pass rusher, but he needs to try to transform himself and being that complete player. Obviously, he added some weight. I think that Bama could potentially use him a little bit more as an edge defender, as far as what his role can be. But there's no doubt about it. He is one of the best pass rushers, at least if you're looking at his pass rushing win rate statistically. Again, he's not gonna blow you away with the number of sacks, but he's gonna win a lot of his one-on-one matchups. And I definitely believe that Chris Braswell could potentially be that player.
All right, on the line with Jarek from Buffalo. Jarek, give us your final thought on. We'll get back. We'll jump right back to Alabama versus Texas. Call in line at the bottom of your screen, 205-850-1994. Now is a good time to call in if you want to talk about Alabama versus Texas. Jarek, right now, as we're in the summer season, what is the one area of concern when you think about the Texas Longhorns versus the Alabama Crimson Tide in the early summertime?
Yeah, it's got to be Texas receivers versus our corners. We do lack a little bit of experience there. It's going to be one heck of a matchup between Kool-Aid versus Worthy. That's going to be a heck of a matchup. But what's going to happen with the Nye Mitchell? Because the Nye Mitchell, you can line him up out wide, you can line up him in the slot, and especially that's a guy that when it comes to vertical passes, he's one of the best jump ball getters out there. Reminds you a little bit of George Pickens. And then, like I said, again, what's going to happen with Isaiah Nayer, who's again another guy that you can match up in the slot, very big type slot guy, very impactful player at Wyoming. Again, missed last year because of injury, but he's going to be coming back fighting for that rotation. And then Jordan Whittington gave us problems in the slot. It's going to be a very interesting game because last year we could not get any pressure at all on Quinn Ewers, and when we gave Quinn Ewers time, by the time we were trying to get there, Quinn already had the ball gone because it was simply just a lot of quick releases. And even when they, it was your prototypical three-step drop and just scanning around the field, we still couldn't get pressure on the quarterback until obviously a little bit later in the game where Dallas Turner was able to injure him. But that's going to be a very interesting matchup right there. Can we get pressure on the quarterback? Can we affect the rhythm? And again, Texas, knowing what Steve Sarkisian, knowing how he's gone against our defense, again, it's going to be interesting to see if we're going to change some things up. Because if we just bring the same game plan like we did last year, or like we always normally do, it's going to make it a lot harder on us. This might be a game where we actually might have to change some things up. Not saying we need to go full on Pete Golding as far as making this defense way complicated than it actually is. But how do we get these players to feel comfortable? How can we get a lot of our guys, especially in the secondary, which does lack some inexperience? How can we get these guys to be as comfortable as possible? Especially when we do go against especially if we do get into any sort of situation, if we're one-on-one. What sort of defensive formations can we play? Are we going to run a little bit of some two deep zone? Are we going to run? Are we going to prototypical man with some safety over the top with some safety help? It's going to be interesting to see what sort of defense we can play against. Are we going to confuse their offense? It's interesting. It's a very interesting matchup, but that's the concern to me. I think that trench warfare-wise, I think we're going to be a lot better compared to last year as far as trench warfare-wise. I think I love this personnel a little bit more often just because of the amount of talent that this team has. Again, we do lack some inexperience there a little bit, but we do have better talent compared to what we did last year going against this matchup. But even last year, we didn't do that bad in the trenches. We did a phenomenal job in stopping the run, so I'm not really concerned going against a lot of their running backs, even though they do have some talented guys. But it's more of again, their receivers against our corners, against our safeties. That's going to be a very interesting battle, especially because not just schematically wise, which is, again, that's the battle that we're all going to look for, but just overall wise, a lot of our corners have the tendency of not turning their head around when the ball is up. And that was a big concern of us last 2 years, was the fact that we just never really turned our head, whether it was our safeties or corners or our slot guys, never turned their head around when it came to looking for the football. That's got to get fixed. That's the first thing that has to get fixed in this secondary is getting our guys finding a way to locate the football. And again, there's no better game that really tests that than this Texas game, because there's going to be a lot of deep 50-50 balls, and there's going to be a lot of formations, a lot of plays where Steve Sarkisian is going to really test that out. So it's going to be a very interesting matchup. I can't wait for it. This is a great test for our young defense, and again, if we can do a great job and maybe not shutting this offense down, but if we can slow this offense down and we can win a lot of our matchups, then this is going to be phenomenal for us moving forward.
Jarek, I appreciate you calling into the show. As always, man, you do such a great job. We appreciate you more than you know. Call again next time, and I will catch up on text or email.
Oh yeah, for sure, guys. Like the video, subscribe, definitely share this content, man. Kyle, again, he's independent. He's doing this almost by his lonesome. So definitely help him out. And yeah, man, definitely will catch you guys and the rest of you, the Bama family later.
All right, man. Thanks, Jarek. All right, that's our good buddy Jarek from Buffalo calling in. Fam, what's up? Man, it's so amazing to be talking Alabama football. Just a couple days away from SEC Media Day. Hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. If you're new to the channel, turn the bell on so you're notified every single time we drop a video. My name is Kyle Henderson of YouTube, Alabama football on YouTube. Today we're talking about Alabama versus Texas, following Texas being named the favorite to win the Big 12. And that's kind of what we're gearing the show towards. We have our next caller. You can get the call line anytime at the bottom of the screen, 205-850-1994. And we'll take our next caller right now. It is a 256, and we'll start right now. Hey, good evening. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
What's up with you, man? This is Jay from Florence.
Jay, what's up, man? Good to hear from you, man. You know what? Everyone was talking about your prediction about Amos starting over Arnold, and now people are starting to talk about this game and how Alabama's DBs are going to line up against Texas wide receivers. What's your biggest area of concern when you look to Alabama versus Texas in that Week 2 matchup?
I don't feel like we got, and this might be the cocky in me or whatever. Man, we ain't worried about Texas at all. I do not see, now we got better coordinators. Because, see, I've been complaining about the coordinators for the last, before Pete them and all that. We ain't had no guys that's aggressive and that want to win. We've been had a bunch of coordinators that's using Alabama as maybe I can go there, win a championship, and then I get me a better job. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Bill O'Brien, he wasn't nothing but a homeboy hire. I draft your quarterback, Bill Belichick. I draft your quarterback, Nick. You hire my homeboy, and then he go to your place for a couple years, and then I'm going to give him my offensive coordinator job. Let him rehabilitate himself at Alabama like you do, Coach Saban, right? That's what that was. I feel like Saban kind of sold us out on the coordinators a little bit. I hate to be that fan to call in and say that, but we got better coordinators this year. We got a coordinator that's going to run the ball. Last year you had an offensive coordinator who scored a 70 or 80-yard touchdown, and then 15 of the next 16 plays or something like that, he called a pass, man. You mean to tell me after running the ball, one play, getting 80 yards in a touchdown, I'm going to call 15 passing plays? That don't make sense in football, period, dude.
I'm still here. I'm still here, Jay. No, I'm just listening, man. It's the thing of beauty, man, because you're spitting the straight facts. And I think a lot, because I asked people on the last show, is like about Kevin Steele and their thoughts about Kevin Steele. You and I even talked about Kevin Steele and Tommy Rees, and I know his name has even been floating around for that, Northwestern job, which would take place in 2024. It's like, let him actually coach over here for a little while before he's picking up, other head football coaching jobs. So if you missed that, basically Northwestern's coach got fired and people are throwing out names, and they named Tommy Rees, and kind of, everyone, got their hair on fire. But Tommy Rees should be coaching with Alabama going into this season. On the line with Jay from Florence. We appreciate you, Jay. Jay, he's not worried about Texas, and that's what I'm talking about. Like, that's the standard. Like, when you look to the schedule, like these big games, and we looked at all the Alabama schedule, like all the big games for Alabama are at home mostly. I think Texas A&M on the road, Auburn on the road, but mostly Alabama at home in the comfy confines of Bryant-Denny Stadium. Jay, let me ask you this. Why does it feel like there's some sort of a rivalry with Texas when these two teams really they don't have that much history? Is it just because like Steve Sarkisian is over there? Is it because of the way that last year's game ended? Do you feel that there's somewhat of a rivalry between these two teams?
I feel like they're a bunch of crybabies and a bunch of whiner faces or whatever you call people like that. That's what they is. Because all they going to say is, oh, we played you in the national championship game and you knocked our starting quarterback out. Well, this football, he tried to run into a 300-pounder. Guess what? Shoulder out of place. Oh, Dallas Turner, that was a late hit. He drove him into the ground. We at y'all house. Why y'all ain't calling? You see what I'm saying? So you ain't doing nothing but a bunch of whining. And excuse me, Cal, but my coaches always told me that excuses are like assholes. Everybody got one.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So if you ain't win, you ain't win. Yeah, that's all it come down to. Bama, you barely won. You barely won on the back of a great quarterback. That you did, man. You run that ball, we blow them out in the first half.
Mm-hmm.
We blow them out in the first half when we just stick to running the ball. But if Quinn Ewers don't get hurt, they right. They can put the whiny face on and say, "Hey, Quinn don't get hurt, we beat you." I'm a Bama fan that'll admit that. If Quinn don't get hurt, they stomp our head in. Only because of play calling. Only because of play calling, man. You got a defensive coordinator that wants the cornerback to sit back 10, 15 yards, and Sarkisian know that, so he ain't doing nothing but calling little bubble screens, little hitch plays. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna pick up these 5, 10 yards. I'm gonna make you make a one-on-one tackle, and maybe I could break that for 25 yards. You see what I'm saying? Little things like that added up over time to where I'm like, dang, Saban, do you not see what's going on? Like you done fell back so much in the CEO role that you just don't care anymore or something like that? Like, these are questions I wanted to ask. I wanted to ask Saban myself, Cam. Because bringing up that Texas game, I get so heated about that one. I'm sorry.
On the line with Jay from Florence. Actually, Jay, you had one of your homeboys was across the pond from Muscle Shoals, man. So I was just up in that area, by the way, up in Florence, man. I should have hit you up, Jay. We could have hung out. Sorry, my microphone just flew out of my ear. 1 second. Hey, Jay, when we look to is there anything else when you look to this Alabama versus Texas matchup that kind of stands out when we're in the preseason? Make a final comment before we get to our next caller.
Man, ride the wave, Bama. That's it, man. This is going to be the greatest, Nick Saban's greatest coaching performance. I hate to be the player, the person to come in and talk it like that, but we got the players and we got the coordinators for the players. Now, only thing I'm gonna be real. Only thing I'm worried about is Reese, Tommy Reese, is his alliance with Alabama. See what I'm saying? You might want us to get to the national championship game and lose. I don't know. You're a Notre Dame guy, so I really, really don't trust you. But I don't know. Still, I don't know, Kyle. That's me, man. That's the Bama in me. I wanted the tight end coach to be the offensive coordinator because he been at Bama. He gonna be at Bama. You see what I'm saying? So you can go and take that Northwestern job, get on, but just run the ball 20,000 times so we can go and win this championship, man. Roll Tide.
Hey, Jay, well, thank you so much for calling, man. I'm going to get to my next caller, but call in anytime. You know you got a seat at the table right here on Bama Football on YouTube. All right, that was our boy Jay from Florence with a great rant, man. I mean, how many facts did he spit out, right? Like, that's the man of facts. I was building out my my baseball lineup for callers, right? We got Sean from Huntsville leading off. Then you have Jarek. You always want that number, that 2 batter, right? He's like high percentage. Same with 1. And then you have Jay from Florence. And then you have, I think in the 4th spot, I'm going to have Uncle Charles, right? Batting that cleanup. Tom from Wisconsin was a sleepy good caller as well. We're going to take our next caller right now. It's a 608, and we'll start that right now. Hey, good evening. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. We got Tom from Wisconsin. Man, I was just talking about you, Tom. This is working out perfect for the lineup, for the baseball lineup.
Thank you, sir. I like the fat cleanup. It would be perfect.
Well, see, because I would like.
Or you can put me in the 5 hole too. That would be fine too.
No, because your 5 hole hitter after cleanup is very important spot. You know what I'm saying? Your 5 hole is very important. I mean, so I'm building out the lineup, but we got Tom from Wisconsin. Now we went up to the Northeast. We have Buffalo. Then we came back down to Northwest Alabama, Florence, and now we're going all the way Midwest back to Wisconsin. Tom, when we look at Alabama versus Texas, what's your early preseason take on this matchup?
I listened to callers previous to this, and I was thinking to myself, well, one thing I'm concerned about in a way is the secondary with Kool-Aid back there. Is he going to be able to help the younger guys out, that are going to be playing in this game? I mean, Texas is not going. It's no joke. I mean, I think like the last caller said about how if Hewers hadn't got hurt, could it have been a different game? I think it could have been a different game, but like you said, run the damn ball in the first half, and we win going away. I agree with that 100%. I mean, it's just the fact. I mean, if you just run the ball, And if you would have kept running the ball the whole game, maybe you could have blown them out because our offensive line would have worn them out, and then you could open up the passing game more. Make a play honest. You have to make a play honest. You can't play just one way the whole game. That's just my first take of it. Anyway,
Do you feel that this is Texas? Is that like their Super Bowl game? I feel it's like that. Like every single time, like anybody
I do
plays
too.
it, right?
Yep.
Like this is the biggest game like in school history always. So last year they had the opportunity to take down the iconic Alabama brand, because when you look to brands, like branding is so important, and Alabama has that brand. Texas, they have the brand as well, but that would just be like another feather in their cap is, hey, we beat Alabama football. They would never stop talking about this win for the rest of like school history.
right. And if that happens, fine. But you're coming to Tuscaloosa at nighttime, and it's going to be rowdy. It's going to be over 102,000 people there. I won't be there, but I'll be watching it on TV. You're up here in Wisconsin, but I've been telling people at work, because I work with people who are Big Ten fans, and I get so much government all the time about Alabama this, and then everybody's Big Ten fans. But anyway, I was telling people, I said, well, you know what? Nick Saban is pissed because of what Dana Fogg said to him on the playoff game there, the national title game, whatever it was, about Georgia being the new Alabama. And Nick Saban looked right at him, and Nick Saban just looked pissed. Mm-hmm. And I think he's on a goddamn mission just to say, hey, we're still the brand. We're going to be on top of the college football mountain again. If they can get it all together, I really believe that.
I think you're right. And there was even a radio show this summer. I think it was Jocks. They also do a great job here in the state of Alabama, one of the bigger flagship sports radio stations. They had Coach Saban on, and Coach Saban said he didn't reference Georgia, but he said that there's somebody who has done a good job of taking away what is Alabama's and referencing Georgia without saying Georgia's name. He's right, because Georgia has taken away the last two national titles. That's why I don't think that everything is right, like sunshine and rainbows here in Tuscaloosa. It's not. Other than that, I mean, Alabama would have won the last two titles. I mean, that is the standard here. Since I've been here, I've just been accustomed to covering national titles. That's why it's weird to cover anything else other than the playoffs. Like going to the Sugar Bowl, yeah, it's a good time. I've talked about that before, but that's not the standard. So going into this game and referencing how Texas plays Alabama, I think it's an early season showdown, but it also does have even late season implications, the way that this current playoff tree does still hold until next season. Because when you look to Texas's schedule, Texas, win or lose that game, Texas is very well probably going to be either a one-loss team, because I think they're very favorable schedule. In Alabama, let's face it, I mean, I get it. They have their marquee games at home, but it is a gauntlet of a schedule. I'll bring up Alabama's schedule in just a second and compare it against Texas, but I think my point is this game is going to have already late season implications on the line between Alabama and Texas. I promise you.
Well, yeah, and if you look at the games that we get at home this year, LSU, Tennessee at home. What was the other one you mentioned? What other one? But yeah, the big marquee games get at home, and then you got the Rat Poison games, which is just Rat Poison. But the marquee games that we get at home, yeah, we have to go to Texas A&M and put up with that bitch ass Jimbo Fisher, because I hate that guy with a passion. I can't stand that guy. I just can't. I'm sorry. Just something about the guy. But,
I think there's probably a lot of people that feel that way about Jimbo Fisher. It's kind of, and I think like that, even that recent flex when he got that wide receiver from the state of Alabama, right? It's just like the pockets at Texas A&M are so deep. I mean, it's just like he can flex whenever he wants. Here's the schedule for the Alabama Crimson Tide. I'm going to go full screen on it so everybody can check it out. So you got Middle Tennessee. That's the opener. That's the game that we're not talking about. That's the Rat Poison game that we're just completely bypassing, right? That's the reason Saban hates, things like this. Then you have Texas. Then you have South Florida. That's games in Tampa. Then you have Ole Miss. That game is at home. And then you have you go to Stark Vegas. That's always a fun party. At Texas A&M, that one Kyle Field. The last time the Alabama was there, Texas A&M was able to beat Alabama. You have Arkansas coming home. That's the one you were probably talking about. Followed by Tennessee, and that's where it gets kind of dicey. Look at that 4-game stretch at Texas A&M. Number one thing besides winning, you got to stay healthy during the stretch. 100%, because you have at Texas A&M, then you have Arkansas. I think that's even Alabama. Oh yeah, that's their homecoming game. Then you host Tennessee. That's a redemption game. And then you're open. Hopefully you're healthy by that game. Then you take on LSU, an improved Kentucky team in Lexington. When's the last time that Alabama went up to Lexington? I guess we had to look that up, right? I guess a couple seasons ago or whatever. And then Chattanooga, another rat poison game, and then on the road playing against Hugh Freeze. So that is a dicey schedule for the Alabama Crimson Tide, 100%.
Well, and you look at the meat of it. Just the meat of the schedule alone is just it is a gauntlet. It just is. I mean, you look at those games. Yeah, I mean, if we can get by Texas first, if we get by them, I mean, I believe we will. If we get by them first, then you go through the schedule. Well, are we looking at an undefeated season? Are we looking maybe one loss? I mean, do they go down to Kyle Field again and lose down there because we're a young team? You know what I mean? I hate to say that because I truly believe we can go undefeated, but you got to look at those games. I mean, go to Kyle Field, go to Stark Vegas. Stark Vegas shouldn't be a problem, but I mean, you don't never know. But then you go to Auburn.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, so it's a really tough schedule. I'm full screen on it right now. It's a really difficult schedule, honestly. Watch. Let's look at. I'm gonna pull up. This will piss everybody off. I'm gonna pull up Georgia's schedule. Because
I saw their fucking schedule. They don't play anybody.
They don't play anybody.
You know how many cupcake games they got?
No, they don't play anybody. Nobody. No, watch. We're gonna pull it up right now. Their schedule. This is about to start some fires right here. Okay.
You got me fired up, Kyle.
Yeah. Here we go. Let me pull it up. All right. So we're going full screen on Georgia. Get to my next caller in just a second. Hang tight. So they open up with UT Martin. Ball State, South Carolina, UAB. Oh, not to mention all those games are at home. They travel to take on Auburn, Hugh Freeze, right? Then they have Kentucky at home. Then they go to Vanderbilt. Then they're opened. Then they host Florida. Then they take on Missouri. Then they take on Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin and Pete Golding. That game's at Georgia. Yep. Then they play at Tennessee. So, I mean, that's their first really marquee game is on the road, taking on Tennessee. Who knows how Tennessee is going to be at that point? I'm sure teams are going to be beat up or whatever. And then they take on Georgia Tech. I mean, honestly, sound off in the comment box if you think that's an easy schedule. Honestly, is it?
It is an easy schedule.
My goodness.
I think it's easy, don't you? I believe it. I think it's an easy schedule.
Yeah. I mean, that schedule is, look, there is zero reason these guys are not, I mean, let's see. I mean, Auburn, they're going to be, we could probably look that up already. What would you say? They're probably at least a 7-point favorite. I mean, I get it. It's a Jordan Hare 10.
7.
Yeah. It's 7 at least, right? Yeah. Florida. I mean, that game's or the game is, it's a neutral site game. They're winning that game for sure.
Jacksonville, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Tennessee, I guess that one, but that's so late in the season, so who the hell knows, right? I don't know. So we got sidetracked talking about Georgia's schedule. Give me one last comment on your final take and observations before we put Alabama and Texas to bed for the summertime.
I think it's going to be a redemption game for Alabama because they're at home and they get to have their turn with their home crowd to see what they can do. Against Steve Sarkisian and that team, because it's going to be. I think this is going to be a good game. Like you said at the beginning, that's their Super Bowl coming and playing the brand, which is Alabama.
Yeah.
Nick Saban, Ed Bryant-Denny. I think it's going to be a terrific football game, and I think Alabama will come on top. I really do.
Hey, Tom. Well, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much for the dialogue, man. Call in anytime. We got you 608 plugged in. You got to see at the table, and we'll catch up with you next time.
All right, baby. Thanks a lot. Roll Tide.
Yeah, roll Tide to you, man. That's Tom up in Wisconsin. He's on our lineup right now, batting fifth. We got a 205 in the queue. Hang tight. I'll be with you just momentarily. Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. Hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. Next week, I'll be in Nashville for SEC Media Days. We'll be still having our call-in shows. You guys can call in. What I was planning to do is, since I'm going to be up in Nashville, I'm going to take my gear up there. And then after we've heard some of the coaches, like for example, I think on Monday you have Jimbo Fisher and Brian Kelly. We'll break down what they said in terms of how it relates to Alabama or any type of sound bites or anything interesting that I saw or whatever. And then I will have a call-in show and talk about that with our whole lineup. And we'll do that throughout the week from Monday to Thursday. I'm playing in a golf tournament on Sunday. And then the following week, I'm going down to Mobile, Alabama to play in a 2-day golf tournament. So those are like my last hurrahs before we really get knee deep in the football season, which I can't wait. If you're new to the channel, hit the thumbs up, like, and subscribe. My name is Kyle Henderson, Bama football on YouTube, covered the Alabama Crimson Tide football team since 2016. I live here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. This is what I do for a living. So thumbs up, super chat. You can also become a member of our YouTube channel. Just hit the join button at the bottom of this video. Literally how I put food on the table for my 2 kids. I got a 14-year-old and a 10-year-old. So if you have kids out there, you know. And you know what is Publix is just across the street. If you go to Publix, it's so expensive. So, you know, you feel me on that, parents out there. All right, we're going to take a 2:05 and we'll start right now. Hey, you're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with and where are you calling in from?
What's up, Kyle? This is Matt, man. Hattie Mae from the Ham.
What's up, man? Where's the Ham? Where's that from?
Oh, Birmingham, bro. Birmingham.
All right, cool.
You know, sometimes hey, us locals, sometimes we just call it the Ham.
All right, cool. I'm down with it. But no, funny story. So when I first moved here, I'm writing your phone number down real quick. So the last time I was, when I first moved here back in 2016 or whatever, I lived in Los Angeles, right? Like Los Angeles, California. I was out there and I was talking to some dude up in the press conference before Coach Saban came in, and he's like, yeah, I'm from LA. And I'm like, oh, no way. I was like, I'm from Redondo Beach. I lived out there and blah, blah. He's like, no, like lower Alabama. I was like, oh, I didn't know they did like lower Alabama. So now the Ham is B-Ham. Now, so I get it, man. That's
yeah, I forgot about the LA. I remember that. Hey, that rings a bell now. So I'm gonna have to use that. I'm gonna have to put that in my tactical toolbox.
Yeah,
too.
and I think even got Najee Harris because Najee's from Northern California, so I think that tripped him out one time too. So LA, man, is lower Alabama. Ham is Birmingham. Okay, so the show started out talking Alabama, Texas, and kind of like early season thoughts after Texas got named the favorite to win the Big 12. What's your take on this far out Week 2 matchup?
Yeah, man. I listened to a little bit of what Sean said. Man, obviously Sean's, you know, he knows his stuff, and they're gonna come in here hungry, man. You know, obviously with the experience they have coming back with Quinn getting hurt in the game, you know, he'll have a chip on the shoulder, and he'll be playing with something to prove. They all will be. Keelan Robinson will be coming back, you know, running back, and they've recruited well there, you know. So I think you're right too. I think man for man, this will be. You know, this will probably be one of the toughest games, most physical games of the year, even though we're going to have a lot. This is a big test early on. Sark, man, I don't know where I saw the video from, man, but it was before like the Oklahoma game last year, bro. And I'm telling you, his eyes in that tunnel, bro, scared the hell out of me, bro. He's going to have him motivated, man. I don't know. I think I just saw that on the stream. Just, you know, how Sark likes to motivate the team, just, you know, just helping their marketing out. And but like, man, so they're going to be motivated. But man, to Sean's point, man, we need to be mean to them. Man, They were throwing bottles to us. Jameer Gibbs was in the end zone, bro. We're backed up in the end zone, man. They're throwing bottles at us, bro. Dude, I'm not saying we go out there and throw bottles to them. We can be Southern good gentlemen, and you know. But, man, we got to put the fear of God into them. We need to put the fear of God into everybody, man. We need to, like the fans. This one of them games that the fans can really push us over. They can really, like, you know, have a big impact, and they're going to have to, man, because everybody's trying to bury us this year, bro. Because you know they beat us 2 years in a row. They knocked us out, but you got to bury us to beat us. So you know, we just, you know, and with. I think the additions, just with Kevin Steele, man, he's mean, and you know we need to be a death squad, bro. Mm-hmm. Back in those days, people were scared. We had Tony Brown, Come on, man. We had Tony Brown walking in the middle of Georgia's warm-ups saying, let's go. Hey, and then we pick them off on the first play of the game, and we're spreading that money out when we pick it, too. We're gonna let that ball spin, and here we go. Hey, this is what we do, baby. Like, that's what we need to be. We need, like, put the fear of God into people with how we play, how disciplined we play, how we go about ourselves. I know I'm kind of rambling. But,
wait, I just asked, since you brought up his name, I just asked everybody, do you guys want to hear a Tony Brown story? Let me know inside the comment box. Give me a thumbs up, and I'll give you guys a funny as hell Tony Brown story. But I think Zach's saying for sure, okay, if we get a couple thumbs up, I'll give you a Tony Brown story. But, Matt, I think you're right. Like, Kevin Steele, like, nobody wants to talk to that dude. Nobody wants to interview him because he looks pissed off. Like, there's some men who just look pissed off. Like, he looks mad, right? I'm sure he's amazing to his grandbabies and stuff like that. But, like, he just looks pissed off, right? I mean, and that's what you want your defensive coordinator to be, is you want him to be the alpha. You want to be, like, scared to approach him because he means one thing, and that's to put fear in the opposition. And he's just like the alpha within the defensive coordinator.
Oh, my God. You couldn't have said it better, man. And the talent that he had, I know we've said it ad nauseum, man, but, like, what he had to work with at Auburn, man, like, and I know he had some talent, but, like, just, man, he was tough. He was tough. We had Lane Kiffin, man. We weren't bad, and they stuck it to us. They were tough. They made us earn it. So, I'm, Kevin Steele's – I think it's important that we got him with just the way things are going, and you got Venables coming in here, we got the Sark, and just it's a good common denominator to have him with Nick. Nick's the common denominator, but it's just good to have Kevin because man, if we have Kevin, I don't think we'd lose to LSU, my man. I think we might have more than one D lineman out there. I don't think he gets that corner.
Yeah, I don't think
homeboy gets the corner if we have Kevin Steele. The Tennessee game, I think they, I'm an umpire. I umpire baseball, bro. Mm-hmm. So suspect, in my opinion, suspect. That's all I'm going to say to that because I saw a flag thrown after Kool-Aid had the pick when he was past the 50. He's past the 50. He's about to get himself a drink on the sideline. Let's throw the flag. That's pass interference. When that was the same play that Ha made in the championship game in 2012 when he tipped it, or when he caught the tip in the end zone by the goal line. Terrion Arnold tipped it. Great D. Kool-Aid caught it. It's the same as Ha tipping that in the Natty against Notre Dame to whoever tipped it to Ha. So I think that. But anyway, I'm just making, we lost. I'm just being funny. But I'm also rambling.
Well, Matt, I appreciate you calling in. On the other line, I'm going to tell the Tony Brown story as we wrap up the show. Save the number. Call in again next time. We appreciate you. Matt from the Ham. Now I got the Ham, the acronym. We're good. Call in next time, and we appreciate your support, man. Hit the thumbs up, like, and subscribe. Thanks for calling in, Matt.
Yes, sir, brother. I will stay on topic next time. Yes, sir.
No, you're good, man. Matt from the Ham calling in. All right, you guys ready for a Tony Brown story? Okay. So when I first moved here, I lived at the Reserve Apartments, which is up by kind of like Lake Tuscaloosa. Okay. So I was friends with, I made a lot of friends with a lot of people who moved here from Germany because of the Mercedes-Benz plant. And one of the guys that I was friends with, he lived right directly across from Tony Brown. I didn't know this at the time. We were talking about Tony Brown somehow. Who wasn't when he played here, right? And so, as you know, Tony Brown had this like most impressive physique that, you could have. And he just kind of had this like allure, this swagger, like he was like total alpha, right? So one night there's like this huge party going on up at Tony's room and he's up on the 3rd floor. And my buddy's telling me the story. So he gets back from work or it's like late in the evening time and his wife's like, you got to go like knock on the door. Like Tony's like, there's like a party going on or something like that. So he goes over and he's like, shit, I don't want to like go to knock on this dude's door. So he goes and he knocks on the door and nobody comes. And he like, so he gives a little bit more mustard and out comes Tony Brown. And Tony Brown is in this full on robe. and he has sunglasses on, and he's brushing his teeth. And my buddy, he's like, he's German. He's like, yo, Tony, like, just kind of keep it down a little bit. Tony Brown is brushing his teeth. He literally has like, stuff in his mouth. He just spits, closes the door, partied all night. So like that's how Tony rolled. It was like, and I'll never forget when Tony would just like, he would come out in like his girdle and walk literally through the line. Like where are guys like that? Right? Like that alpha mentality that you have. And the greatest thing is like Alabama would just let him loose. Like you couldn't contain him. They just unleashed him. And we need more people like that on the team. We got one more caller. We'll take it on. It's a 334 and we'll take it right now. Hey, what's on the line? Or hey, what's up? You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am on the line with them? Where are you calling in from?
What's up, buddy? Jeff from Selma, Alabama.
Hey, what's up, Jeff? How you doing, man? I appreciate you, man. It's been a long time since we talked. Where the hell you been? I guess you could say the same for me.
No, you good. You got a company to run now, and you're doing a damn good job.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. So what's up? What's your take on this Alabama-Texas game?
I think that Texas is underestimating Alabama on the defense because they've improved vastly from last year. I mean, you've seen that in the A-Day game. I mean, I know it's an A-Day game. I understand that. But if you compare the A-Day game from last year on defense to the one this year, I mean, they could barely get a pass off. I mean, what they have, 3 interceptions and 2 fumbles? I mean, getting in the backfield, living in the backfield. If it had been a contact game, that quarterback would have been dust. That's how I feel about it.
Do you feel like? Go ahead.
The quarterback situation. I think everybody should think about AJ and Sims, and they should think about Tui and Hurts, and they should think about Jake and Cooper, because that was 3 quarterbacks that won national championships in a year that everybody said we wasn't going to do nothing. Nothing at all.
Do you feel
People should remember that?
Do you feel, I mean, let me ask you, I guess we've like kind of morphed into this quarterbacks. Might as well end the show talking about the quarterbacks. Tell me how you feel about each of the quarterbacks, like your honest opinion, like who gives a shit, man? Just tell me how you feel about Jalen Milroe, then tell me how you feel about Ty Simpson, and tell me how you feel about Buckner. Just be honest with me. Just tell me how you feel about him. Start with Milroe. All
right. So Milroe, if he can get his throwing game together, he will be a dynamic quarterback. Because he's big, he's got that physical presence about him. He could run through a line. See, the only thing that with him is he's got to get that throwing game down. Because with his running game and his throwing game together, he's unstoppable. You can't stop him. But those two have to come together. They have to come together in a symbiotic moment, and it has to show on that field. Because you can't go out there and do what he did against Texas. I know we won the game. I understood that. But we should have won it by a lot more than that. That's my opinion on that. I mean, and Simpson, just in general, quarterback. He plays scared, man. Come on, didn't you see the fear in his eyes in that Texas game? I mean, the only reason we won that game, and I'm gonna throw it out there, and everybody can say what they want to. Arnold saw Jimbo, and he read his lips. He said he knew exactly who was gonna get the ball. There was 4 seconds left in the game?
That was.
I think they were
yeah. Plus, that was just a stupid play call by Texas A&M.
Yeah, I mean, but Arnold sealed the deal though. They had 4 seconds to go. They were like, that was on the 15-yard line, I think. And if they hadn't stopped them, we would have lost 3 games that year.
No, 100%, 100%.
That's how I feel about them.
Tell me how you feel about Ty Simpson.
I think Ty Simpson's a really good quarterback. I think he scrambled in the A-Day game and got 9 yards off of the play.
Well, yeah, I think he had a scramble, but he did have an option keeper that went for like 45 yards or something like that.
Yeah, he had some good real. I mean, he had 1 interception. I think he had some hurry ups. I mean, you gotta look at the defense. So the defense was all over the field that day. I mean, it was I mean, like I said, it's vastly improved from last year.
Yeah, I think they
people
had
can say
like
what they want to.
9 or 10 sacks or something.
We got rid of our two biggest problems. Our two biggest problems. O'Brien and Pete are gone. That's it. I didn't like O'Brien when he come there, and when Pete started playing defense, I was like, this is not our defense. This is not a normal Alabama defense. I mean, you can't help when players get hurt. I mean, that's just the way it is. You can't help it. So I don't know how else to say it. But
and then what about
Simpson?
this? No, what about Tyler Buckner? You excited about him?
From what I heard somebody say that his interceptions were forced interceptions. So I don't really know for sure, but I did watch some of the game. I think Notre Dame went 8-4 last year, or something like that.
I was surprised with his. I mean, I don't think a lot of people know that Buckner. I mean, I think him and Simpson are similar in terms of the athleticism that they also bring. Like people like, shoot, Simpson's amazing side to side, and he's clearly got some wheels north and south, and so does Buckner too. Like he's a very athletic quarterback. So I think you have two of the same, and then you have Jalen Milroe, who's just like a different breed of quarterback. All right.
Like I said, if Milroe can get his throwing game and his running game together, he's golden. I mean, and Texas is scared of Milroe. I've heard a lot of fans say that. They were like, "Well, I don't."
Hell yeah! Everyone's scared of
him.
Milroe. Imagine game planning for a 6'2", 240-pound quarterback. I mean, look, it's a nightmare because if his throwing comes on, his deep ball. Because I think like under 20, he's going to be fine. If he has to throw a deep ball, we'll see what happens. But I mean, if he takes off and runs, I mean, he's one of the fastest players on the team. Who wants to, hit a 240-pound guy running a 4.4 or whatever he runs. All right, Jeff, as we round up the show, man, give me your final take on Alabama versus Texas. Alabama's a 7-point favorite in that week 2 matchup. Main area of concern or your final take on the Texas Longhorns?
Alabama's going to win the game. It's in our stadium. I say it's going to be at least 14 points, maybe more. I don't know for sure. Like I said, I think that Texas is underestimating our defense, and they're not, and they know that we're having a quarterback situation right now. But like I said, you got to think of AJ and Sims, Jake and Cooper, Tui and Hurts. And all three of those quarterbacks that went in there and won their spot won a national championship. Mm-hmm. That's facts.
Yeah, those are facts, man. Jeff, thank you so much for calling in the show, man. I appreciate you watching this video, calling into the show. I appreciate you being a long-time subscriber and calling in. We'll get the call-in show going, frequently, and you call in any single time, Jeff. I appreciate you calling in, man.
I'll say one more thing.
Of course.
Okay. Why is all the Alabama fans scared? What's up? What happened? Did you lose faith in your team or something? What happened? I don't understand it. All these people talking about we're gonna lose games and everything. What? Why you think that? Huh? Why? What's up? You lose faith in your team? Because that's what it sounds like to me. I mean, you need to listen. You need to understand. Alabama's on another level this year. Y'all don't understand it. Everybody's going on 2 years of Bill and Pete and how they did everything. Stop being scared. Be a true Alabama fan. Roll with the tide or go find another damn team. That's how I feel.
Jeff,
that's all I wanted to say.
Jeff from Selma. I love it. Great ending. And we'll catch up with you next time, buddy.
Anytime.
Jeff from Selma. When Jeff gets going, man, you can't stop him. I'm telling you. All right. That was great. You guys have fun? You guys have a good time? I appreciate you guys. It feels so good to be back talking Alabama Crimson Tide football right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Hit the thumbs up, like, and subscribe. I appreciate you guys all, man. Everybody who called in tonight, from Sean leading off, Jarek, we got Uncle Charles in the house. We got Matt from The Ham. We got Jeff from Selma. We got Jay from Florence. We got Tom from Wisconsin. So we went all around the map. We didn't have any West Coast callers tonight. So you guys from the West Coast, you guys certainly chime in. Remember when Tu was here? We had that like huge Hawaiian following. That's why I moved the show to the evening time, because I was doing the show during the middle of the day and they weren't even awake yet. So I had to like slow down and like put the show in the evening time. So I appreciate you guys tonight talking Alabama versus Texas, coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. Hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. Stay tuned for more videos coming tomorrow and all next week from SEC Media Days.